Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha Ikshvaku vamsha avatirya guru nideshe Isthan vanam sadaita nuja vivesha Yasmin virudya dashakandharatim acha Asmat, on to us, beginning from Brahma down to insignificant ant. Prasada, causeless mercy. Sumukha, so inclined. Kalaya, with his plenary extensions. Kaleshaha, the Lord of all potencies. Ikshvaku, Maharaj Ikshvaku, in the dynasty of the sun. Vamshe, family. Avatirya, by descending in. Guru, of the father or spiritual master. Nideshe, under the order of. Tishthan, being situated in. Vanam, in the forest. Sadaita Anujaha, along with his wife and younger brother. Avivesha, entered. Yasmin, onto whom? Virudhya, being rebellious. Dashak Kandharaha, Ravana, who had 10 heads. Artim, great distress. Archat, achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Due to His causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with His planetary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the Lord of His internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharatha, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. Please repeat. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the Lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharatha, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. Purport. Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his brothers, namely Bharat, Lakshmana, and Shatrughna, are his plenary expansions. All four brothers are Vishnu Tattva and were ordinary human beings, and were never ordinary human beings. There are many unscrupulous and ignorant commentators on the Ramayana, unscrupulous and ignorant commentators on the Ramayana, who present the younger brother of Lord Ramachandra as ordinary living entities. But here, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scripture on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were his plenary expansions. Originally Lord Ramchandra is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Lakshmana is the incarnation of Shankarshana. Bharata is the incarnation of Pradyumna. And Shatrughna is the incarnation of Anuruddha. Expansions of the personality of Godhead Lakshmi ji, Sita, is the internal potency of the Lord and is neither an ordinary woman nor external potency incarnation of Durga. Durga is the external potency of the Lord and she is associated with Lord Shiva. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:7, the Lord appears when there are discrepancies in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramachandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brother and his internal potency, Lakshmiji Sita Devi. Lord Ramachandra was ordered by his father, Maharaj Dasharath, to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances, and the Lord was the ideal son of his father. Carried out the order, even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sitaji, desired to go with him. The Lord agreed to both of them, and all together they entered the Dandakaranya forest to live there for 14 years. During their stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramachandra and Ravana, and the latter kidnapped the Lord's wife, Sita. The quarrel ended in vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravana, along with all his kingdom and family. Sita is Lakshmiji, or the goddess of fortune, but she is never to be enjoyed by any living being. She is meant for being worshipped by the living being along with her husband, Sri Ramachandra. A materialistic man, like Ravana, does not understand this great truth, but on the contrary, he wants to snatch Sita Devi from the custody of Rama and thus incurs great misery. The materialists who are after opulence and material prosperity may take lessons from the Ramayana and the policy of exploiting the nature of the Lord without acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord is the policy of Ravana. Ravana was very advanced materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom Lanka into pure gold or full material wealth. But because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramachandra and defied him by stealing his wife, Sita, Ravana was killed, and all his opulence and power were destroyed. Lord Ramachandra is full incarnation with his opulences in full, and is therefore mentioned in this verse, Kaleshah, or master of all opulence. Om Jnanatimirandhasya.
Read the next verse. Just read the translation.
The personality of Godhead Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant, intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red hot eyes, like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because his family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry red hot eyes of the Lord. Purport. The personality of Godhead has every sentiment of a sentient being, like all other living beings, because he is the chief and original living entity, the supreme source of all other living beings. He is the Nitya, or the chief eternal amongst all the eternals. He is the chief one, and all others are the dependent many. The many eternals are supported by the one eternal, and thus both the eternals are qualitatively one. Due to such oneness, both the eternals constitutionally have a complete range of sentiments. But the difference is that the sentiments of the chief eternal are different in quantity from the sentiments of the dependent eternals. When Ramachandra was angry and showed his red hot eyes, the whole ocean became heated with that energy, so much so that the aquatics within the great ocean felt the heat, and the personified ocean trembled in fear and offered the Lord an easy path for reaching the enemy's city. The impersonalist will see havoc in this red hot sentiment of the Lord because they want to see negation in perfection. Because the Lord is absolute. The impersonalists imagine that in the absolute, the sentiment of anger, which resembles a mundane sentiment, must be conspicuous. But
Conspicuous.
conspicuous. Conspicuous by its absence. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, they do not realize that every sentiment of the absolute person is transcendental to all mundane concepts of quality and quantity. Had Lord Ramchandra's sentiment been of mundane origin, how could it disturb the whole ocean and its inhabitants? Can any mundane red hot eye generate heat in the great ocean? These are the factors to be distinguished in terms of the personal and impersonal conceptions of the absolute truth. As it is said in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is the source of everything. So the absolute person cannot be devoid of the sentiments that are reflected in the temporary mundane world. Rather, the different sentiments found in the absolute, either in anger or in mercy, have the same qualitative influence. Or, in other words, there is no mundane difference of value because these sentiments are all on the absolute plane. Such sentiments are definitely not absent in the absolute, as the impersonalists think, making their mundane estimation of the transcendental world. 2:725 Srimad Bhagavatam. Translation. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the tusks of the elephant, which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke into pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the twanging sound of the bow of Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead. Purport. However powerful a living being may be, when he is condemned by God, no one can save him. And similarly, however weak one may be, if he is protected by the Lord, no one can annihilate him.
So, in these three verses, thank you very much for joining in with our Srimad Bhagavatam. Joining.
Prayers.
Yeah?
Prayers. Om Agyan.
What?
Om Agyan.
Oh, say that.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinobandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, thank you very much joining in our Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is a very auspicious day, being Rāma Navamī. What is the significance of this? As we hear the transcendental pastimes of Ram, I think every one of you are thoroughly well versed in his pastime, I'm sure. Yes? So you must know Ramayana by the tip of your finger? No? Yes? Yes, there's nobody who has not read the Ramayana, I'm sure. Everyone is very thoroughly well versed. Now we're going to look into the significance of this whole program. Why the Lord descended. Why does these uncommon pastimes? Why? What is the significance of this, of his descent?
Arouse Krishna consciousness.
To arouse Krishna consciousness. Yes. Why we need to arouse Krishna consciousness? Question. Why? Well,
We have drawn away from the Lord as a result we have attracted and forget our relationship with Him.
so we have detached ourselves from the spiritual world. What is other reasons? Anyone? Why do you think the Lord does this pastime? Not to make us go sleepier. Is that a fact? Not to fall asleep. Why does it does this pastimes? I don't know, Prabhu, why he comes and don't mess around. We all are doing our work and he just why? What's the significance of this? Yeah, I know. Paritana is sadhu. Why?
For the devotee,
Huh?
to raise the devotee.
What?
For the devotee always hearing the glories of the Lord.
The devotees are thinking of the glories of the Lord. Why? We need to think of the glories of the Lord. Again, question, Prabhu. Everybody will ask this question.
Because we are suffering here
Shunmita.
through devotional service to Him by doing the pastime, He can increase our devotion and reduce our sufferings.
We can increase our devotion
And reduce our sufferings through that.
and
So that
reduce our suffering.
we can go back to Him.
Go back to Him. So this is all answers in many angles,
Please the devotee of the Lord.
to please the devotees of the Lord. Of course, the Lord comes in one action, He does so many things. That's natural of His qualities, By doing one thing, He does so many other equivalent activities. You understand this? So the real thing is that the Lord is very concerned about us. Because yes, we are very much attracted to hearing. That is the nature, You go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Sorry, 2, 1, 2. Srotra vidini Rajendra. You can chant this verse. Narnam Sante Sahasrasam Apasyanti Atmatatvam Graheshu Graha. This is down again. Graheshu Graha Medinam. What happened?
Hare Krishna.
Something is wrong. What happened? I have lost my.
Power.
He doesn't like to hear it, so he cut it off for him. It's all same old nonsense he's going to talk. Just cut it off. Yeah? Hello. So you can chant this verse again, please. Very important verse. I'm sure you know this verse. Yes?
Shrod.
Huh?
Srotavyadini Rajendra.
Shrotravidini Rajendra.
Nam Santi Sahasrashaha. Apashyatam Atmatattvam. Griheshu Grahamedinam.
Griheshu Grihamedinam. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society. O Emperor.
So this is the problem. See, you can see, especially nowadays with all these things, TikTok, YouTube, everyone is making so many what? Subject matters. Yes, it says here in Sanskrit, you see. Where's the verse?
Verse.
I'll go to the verse. See, Nirnam Santi Sahasra Shaha. So many things they got, thousands of things to talk about. Huh? So many things. But all these are not related to Atma Tattvam. They're not related to. What is this relation to Atma Tattvam? Self-realization. Huh? So anything with God, yes, it is said in this verse, 1:5:22. Yes? Can you go? So in this verse, you see, it is spoken by Narada Muni, this verse. Chant. Someone chant, please. You want to chant? Let him chant.
Idam hi pumsa tapasha shutasya va.
Idam he pumsam tapasu sutasya va.
Swastishya shuktasya cha buddhi tattayo.
Tasya cha buddhi dattayo.
Avichyutartha kavibhi nirupito. Yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry.
So this is the essence of our human life. Whatever we do, practically, can you go down a bit? No. I want the words, No, hello. Just go to translation.
Okay.
Learned circles, you see, advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of him, and charity, must culminate in the glorification of the Lord. Whereas this Grahamedis, they are not interested in this. Everything is averse to God consciousness. They're not. They are into, as we say, Maya. What is the difference about getting attracted to Maya, and what is the difference you get attracted to the Lord? Why this disparity? Yes, both are hearing. One you are hearing about the pastime of the Lord, and one you are hearing the pastimes of the living entity. I wouldn't say pastime. I would say what? Contamination. What is the difference? What is the difference by hearing about the Lord, and what is the difference by hearing about all these mundane activities? Give me reference, please. If you don't give me references, it's just going to be speculation. Huh? I want you to learn, because if you don't know how to refer, then you cannot. You follow? So what happens if you get materially entangled? What happens? Hello? Tell me. I mean, you must know now by heart, so many times we have spoken, that if you engage in sense gratification, what is the consequence? Hello? Hello? You fall down. What's the reference?
554.
5?
We engage in this self gratification. We need to take another body again.
Very good. So I am thinking more of 5:16. Not only you fall down, you see in this way, engaging in hearing mundane things, naturally you will want to act. Correct? If you engage in material things, it is mostly in the mode of passion and ignorance. So Krishna explained that mode of passion and ignorance is your enemy. Is your? Right. So when you get into that mode of passion and ignorance, you see this. Can you go to the words? I mean, translation. Because chanting will take a lot of time also for us. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know anything about his real self-interest. Apashyantam, Atmatatma, he doesn't know. So what happened? The auspicious path in life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desire, and all his plans are made for this purpose. For temporary sense gratification, such a person creates society of envy. And you know what happens when you get envious? Now let's little go to that. 10:1:44. You'll come back, yeah? Ten 1:44. Oh, come on. No, 44.
Pritivaram, you have two, not 30.
Got it?
You are doing what? 5-1, 10-1. 10-1.
10:1:44. Yeah. Can you read?
Therefore, since envious,
Again, something wrong with this machine.
impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously?
See, the point is, envy make you what? Suffer in this. Therefore, since envious and impious activity cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, one should not act impiously. Hello? This is, who's speaking here. Vasudeva is speaking to Kamsa. Understand? You see how envy is created by enjoying the senses. Actually, the living entities are all born into it already, right? 7:27. Ichchedevise samutena sammoham. Moham is not enough. Sammoham means completely. They are completely in illusion because of desire and hate,
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita.
7:27.
What's that?
7:27.
No?
7.
Right. For an envious person must always fear from harm from his enemy, either in this life or in the next. So you see how envy it doesn't come good to you at all. You understand? So this is the result of sense gratification. Go back. 15. 16. 1, 5, 5, 16. I think you press the back button, the top there. You press the back button, you'll go there. Yeah. All right. See, create envy. Hello. Go up. Okay, where's the envy? Yeah, some more. So, person creates a society of envy, and due to this mentality, he plunges the ocean of suffering. So, if you don't want to, if you engage in the mode of passion, with sense gratification, there's a price to pay for that. There's a price to pay. You understand? It's not that you go scot-free and you can do whatever you like. You see what happens? An ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about this. So you see how he gets completely what? Covered, bewildered. Apashyantam. He cannot see. He cannot. See how dangerous it is. This program of trying to hear about all material subjects. It all starts by, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when the senses act with sense object, then an attraction develops. So, but it all starts with the hearing, because now it's seeing mostly, but the same thing more or less. So you see how we're going to go into deep trouble if we do not try to, if we go in this path of trying to engage in hearing about material subject matter. Hearing about material, the implication is very, very drastic. Because if we go on like this, then what will happen to our life? What will happen? 10.1.42. I'll go back to 10.1.42. This was spoken by Vasudev again. He said, this is what happens, There you go.
At the time of death, according to thinking, feeling, and willing of the mind, which is involved in fruitive activities, one receives a particular body. In other words, the body develops according to the activities of the mind. Changes of body are due to flickering of the mind, for otherwise, the soul could remain in its original spiritual body.
See the point here? So if we engage our mind in these materialistic activities, then change of body is inevitable. Again another body, again another body. Of course, Narada Muni says you're going constantly up, down, everywhere we are going. So this is all because we are not hearing. We are not engaging our ears in hearing properly. We are interested in hearing about Grahmesu Grahame Dinam. Gramya Katha, as it says. What? Materialistic activities. That's why religious person, they don't want to hear this. 1, 5, 10, I think. 1, 5, 10, I think, is it? Yeah, they don't want to hear things that the crows like to go, See?
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there.
So the saintly person, they don't go this place. They don't what? They don't want to go to this place to hear this crow-like thing. It's all like garbage. You understand? They are interested in the other thing, 11. They are more interested in this. Prabhupada gives a long class on this subject.
On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
So you see, this is a very, when they hear about the pastimes of the Lord, it says creates a revolution here. It brings about a revolution in the life of impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. So you see how there's a saving grace. If you hear about the Lord, then you get saved. You get what? Saved. But if you hear about all this materialistic thing, then you get condemned. So in order to hear the pastimes of the Lord has to come to do this pastime. Yes. Unless the Lord does this pastime, how is it going to benefit you and me? I think it is 10:1, 11:1:6, I think. Is it 11:1:6:7? 11:1:6:7? Yes. So the pastimes of the Lord are very important, because unless there's something like a pastime of the Lord, then how we are going to benefit? Now we say, okay, you hear this nonsense is bad, yes, but there must be something to substitute that, is it not? So you see in this verse,
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the reservoir of all beauty. All beautiful things emanate from him, and his personal form is so attractive that it steals the eyes away from all other objects, which then seem devoid of beauty in comparison to him. When Lord Krishna was on earth, he attracted the eyes of all people. When Krishna spoke, his words attracted the minds of all who remembered them. By seeing the footsteps of Lord Krishna, people became attracted to him, and thus they wanted to offer their bodily activities to the Lord as his followers. In this way, Krishna very easily spread his glories, which are sung throughout the world by the most sublime and essential Vedic verses. Lord Krishna considered that simply by hearing and chanting those glories, conditioned souls born in the future would cross beyond the darkness of ignorance. Being satisfied with his arrangement, he left for his desired destination.
see this point here, very important verse, I mean, you say, Prabhu, this is Krishna, no, what about Rama? In the nectar of devotion, the sages who were meditating, they were very attracted to seeing the body of Rama. The nectar of devotion. Do you know? You remember? Read it. They were so attracted that they wanted to have conjugal relationship with him. Subsequently, in Krishna Lila, they took birth as gopis. You know the pastime? So I see how the Lord is so attractive. So because the problem that many people think God nobody knows, but it's not a fact. I was having a conversation with one taxi driver who was a Muslim man. I think it happened in Delhi. I think there's a video on that.
Yeah.
Eh? He was arguing with me. I said, your ancestors were all followers of Sanatana Dharma. Huh? And this country, your country, the Lord personally walked. But you're preaching to me about impersonalism. How does it work? It doesn't work. Huh? You understand? At least in India, they should know. There's a place where Ram walked, Krishna walked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so many incarnations, yes. And you come out and say, no, there is no God. Does it make any sense? That means something wrong with you. You see? So you see the point of this verse that Krishna is saying that if they get attracted to this will what? Save them, you know. This will what? Save us. This will what? Because we are now all conditioned. We are so conditioned. We are impious. We have fallen into this material world and don't know how many millions of years we are going through this. So the solution is there. The solution is to get attracted to pass them to the Lord. That's why Krishna also said in the Gita, no? Janma karma janma. Yes? What happened? What is this?
January 16.
The story of what?
Sages.
Huh?
Sages of Dandakaranya.
Oh, sages. You can read the sages of Dandakaranya when they saw Rama. Read.
NOD 16. The story of the sages of Dandakaranya can be explained as follows. When Lord Ramachandra was residing in Dandakaranya, the sages who were engaged in devotion service there became attracted by his beauty and immediately thought of the gopis in the Vrindavan, who enjoyed conjugal loving affection with Krishna. In this instance, it is clear that the sages of Dandakaranya desired conjugal love in the manner of the gopis. Although they were well aware of the Supreme Lord as both Krishna and Lord Ramachandra, they knew that although Ramachandra was an ideal king and could not accept more than one wife, Lord Krishna, being the full-fledged personality of Godhead, could fulfill the desires of all of them in Vrindavan. These sages also concluded that the form of Lord Krishna is more attractive than that of Lord Ramachandra, and so they prayed to become gopis in their future lives to be associated with Krishna.
See, by just seeing Ram, they got so attracted. Yes? So you see, this is so powerful. The Lord is not an ordinary person. Of course, the name Krishna means one all attractive. He attracts everybody. And of course, it not only he attracts, it purifies also. That's why that verse is there, no? In Ishopanishad, Mantra 8. Apapa Viddhi, is it? Is that the point? Apapa?
Vidya.
Is that Apapa Viddhi?
Bhavavidham.
Apapa Viddham.
Profiling.
So anything that touches him, it gets purified also. And nothing can contaminate him also. Right? That's why the word is.
Prophylactic.
So you see how the Lord is so powerful that He is the only person who can actually help us. Because the famous verse, you know, what is the famous verse? Sunvata Swakata Krishna, yes?
70.
You know this verse?
1 to 70.
Take up this. See this, can chant this verse?
Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Sunvata Swakata Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridiyantisto Hyabhadrani
Vidayantasto Abhadrani
Vidhunoti Sruhutsatam.
Vidunoti Suhatsatam.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Super Soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
So you see here, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. This is point here. Unless you hear about the Lord, then there is no meaning to say the word vidunoti here. Dobi comes from that word, Vidunoti, cleaning, cleanses the heart from all these anarthas. So the only way we can clean ourselves is to hear about the Lord. And this hearing gives a special effect, just like here in these two verses in the Bhagavad Gita, that last one. Can you go? 1875, 76. I think 76, 77. These two verses spoken by her, who? Sanjaya.
Sanjay.
Yeah. Chant this verse.
Tacha samseha.
No, Tacha, normal.
Tacha samsriya samsteya.
Tacha samsridya samsridya
Rupamati adbhutam hare.
Rupamati adbhutam hare
Vishmayo me mahan rajan.
Vismayo me maharajan
Rishyami cha punah punah.
Rishayami cha punah punah.
O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again.
76. Yeah. Go to the verse again. Yeah. Chant.
Rajan samsmritya samvadam imam adbhutam Keshavarjuna yo punyam Rishyami cha muhurmuhu.
Rishayami cha muhur muhur and Rishayami cha punah punah. Yeah. See, now this go to the Sanskrit. You didn't read the thing yet. You read the translation?
No.
Okay, read the translation.
O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment.
So he's thrilled at every moment. In the next verse, he says, "My hands are also standing." Huh? Is it not? See, these are all aesthetic symptoms. So when a person hears this, samvadam, imam adbhutam, this is not the Lord's activities are always adbhuta. Right? Adbhuta means what?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Something extraordinary. Yes? See? Kesava Arjuna yoho. Punyam. This is another word. Always this word punya comes. Whenever the Lord's activities are, that's now we read Sunvata Swakata Krishna. Punya again. Punya means what?
There's a nice definition.
Pious.
7-9, there's a definition of punya in the first line.
7-9?
Bhagavad Gita.
7-9. 7-9 what? 7-9. Of course, I gave a whole class on this punya. You were not there. Who were there? You were also not there. Who were there?
First line.
No one here. No one was there. The whole subject on punya. Punya means that which is not decomposed. Punya is original. Everything in the material world has certain fragrance, as the fragrance in a flower, or in the earth, in the water, fire, in air, etc. The uncontaminated fragrance is the original fragrance, it permeates everything, is Krishna. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste, and this taste can be changed by mixture of chemicals. So everything has some original fragrance and taste. Right, this Prabhupada is explaining punya in this way, but in other places he explains another way.
Punya Shravana Kirtana means if we apply this meaning, the Punya Shravana Kirtana is like unadulterated as it is if we do Shravan Kirtan, that's why properly heard and chanted, right?
Yes.
If it is not decomposed with interpretations.
But generally, punya also means very pious activities. Very, it purifies you, as we say, apapa viddham. Because punya is classified. I mean, if I were to go there, you're going to be another whole line. I'm already 10 o'clock. This is in reference to 2245 of the CC. If you go there, you see that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving the explanation of punya. Yeah. So,
By good fortune, one becomes eligible to cross the ocean of nescience, and when one's term of mental existence decreases, one may get an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. By such association, one's attraction to Krishna is awakened.
purport.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this point. In this bhagya or fortune, the result of an accident or something else. In the scriptures, devotional service and pious activity are considered fortunate. Pious activities can be divided into three categories. Pious activities that awaken one's dormant Krishna consciousness are called Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti. Pious activities that bestow material opulence are called Bhoganmukhi Shukriti. And pious activities which that enable the living entity to merge into the existence of the Supreme are called Mokshanmukhi Sukriti. These last two awards of pious activity are not actually fortunate. Pious activities are fortunate when they help one become Krishna conscious. The good fortune of Bhakti Unmukhi is attainable only when one comes in contact with the devotee. By associating with the devotee willingly or unwillingly, one advances in devotional service, and thus one's dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened.
So in this regard, this pious activity can only be obtained by devotee. Prabhupada quotes this verse, Satam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvido, 325, 25. So this is the you cannot get to Krishna's pastime unless you go to the devotees, you see? Chant this.
Satam prasangam mama virya samvido
Satam prasangam mama virya samvido
bhavanti hritkar narasayana satha tajoshanada svapavarga vartamani Shraddha Raktir Bhaktir Anuprameshyati. Translation. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin.
This is the point. When you can get attracted to the pastimes of the Lord, then your devotion, your everything starts, Actually, you get three things here. Devotion, what is it? Can you go Sanskrit? Rati, what is it? Three things. Shraddha, Rati and Bhakti. Shraddha means faith, Rati means attraction,
Yeah.
And Bhakti is devotion. So these are all essential things to get spiritually, awakened. So the point that I was stressing just earlier is that the real thing is that the Lord has to do these activities to help us. If the Lord does not come down and does not exhibit His thing, it becomes what we say the word the field for His Mayavads. It becomes an open field for this Mayavads. You understand? That's what the whole thing is about. 99%. Everybody is just simply saying what? God is what? Impersonal. God is what? Impersonal. And this everyone supports that philosophy. Nobody knows you can become God. Wait till you die, then you will see Him. So all kind of, speculation. So in order to completely smash everything, the Lord appears. The Lord appears. So when He appears, like the rising sun, right? The rising sun. Immediately everything becomes clear. 5:16, Bhagavad Gita. Yes? 5:16? Yes? So this is the essential, the Lord has to, He plays His part. As now He said, we're going to 861, 5:16. You gotta go to 5:16. I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam 5:16 in Bhagavad Gita. No, you just go to 5:16. You type 5:16. Don't put SB.
Yeah, I agree.
No, this SB means 5:16. Just type, yeah. Go there and press F4. F4. Yeah, good. So, right. See, now you read this. Then.
Jnanena tu tad ajnanam.
Jnanena tu tat ajnanam.
Yesham nastitam atmanah.
Yesham nasitam atmanah.
Tesam aditya vajnanam.
Yesham aditya vajnanam.
Prakashayati yat param.
Prakashayati tat param.
When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which science is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime.
So this word prakasha, this word prakasha means
Prakashyati.
lights up, And Prabhupada was explaining this point, prakasha is Balaram is Swayam Prakash. Balaram is the Swayam Prakash. And Prabhupada is explaining that prakasha means that he is like the guru who reveals everything. He was making this point. Understand? Prakasha. Prakasha lights up, shows everything. That's why he's the original guru. The original prakasha. So you see the word here, prakashayate. Prakashayati, discloses, shows. So you try to understand that this pastimes of the Lord cannot be understood unless His devotee reveals to you. He reveals to us. That's why devotees are very important. That's now we read. Satam prasanga. Satam prasanga.
Mama Virya.
Mama Virya.
Sangha.
Mama Virya, my glorious activity. My activities are what? Always these activities of Virya, or Vikramaha, Urukrama, Uttama Sloka. All these words are used to glorify the Lord. Because his activities are uncommon. Adbhuta. Adbhuta Vamana. Adbhuta Vikramaha. So, this is actually the medicine. This is actually the only medicine. Of course, in Kali Yuga, the Lord has made it more simple. You just chant, finish. How many of them got time to sit down to hear? Firstly, where's the attraction? That's why so many times, in mantra, what is that? Nam Nam Akari Bahudani Jitharva Shakti.
Naga. Etadri. Tava kripa bhagavan mama. Durdevam. Samyaha nanurada.
Durdaivam. I have no
Raga.
I have no attraction. See, this is our position. And that's why we have to constantly associate. Associate is the main thing. Association, with association only it brings about this hearing what? Vasudeva Ekata Ruchi. Without the association, Sushru Sudadanasya Vasudeve Tata Ruchi. So if we all want to make ourselves, purify ourselves and get out of this mess of trying to hear about the past and the Lord, then the only thing we have to do is to associate with. This is the only thing. So that's why the Lord, He does this very uncommon pastime, like for example, building the what? The stone bridge, which today is still existing, but they could not figure out why. You know that? What do you call that? Rāma Setu. Setu means bridge.
Yeah.
So, that bridge, explained in Bhagavad Gita 15:13, They think that it is gravity. They think this is, but no, it is explained here in this verse. Yes? Gam avishya, is it? 15:13, Gam avishya, is that? Huh? (15:13). Yeah, Sanskrit. See, Gam avishya cha bhutani.
Gam avishya cha bhutani.
Gam avishya cha bhutani.
Dharayami aham ojasah.
Dharayami aham ojasah.
Ushnami chausadhi charvaha.
Ushnami chausadhi charvaha.
Somo bhutva rasatmakaha.
Somo bhutva rasatmakaha.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit.
So I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. You see this point? So this is the problem. The problem is that we are not willing to give any credit to the Lord. We invent so many nonsense to discredit Him. You follow? This is atheism. This is what? In the Bhagavad Gita, the qualities of Brahman: Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam. This one is Jnanam, Agya, Nastikyam. Nastikyam means what? Atheism. And atheist means he does not give any credit to the Lord. And because he is not giving credit to the Lord, he actually is going to the darkest planet of hellish conditions. You follow? That's why Krishna says, if you don't accept this, then you will fall down. You will? Yeah. In other words, if you don't want to hear about the Lord, there's no question of getting out of this material world. That is explained in that verse, no? Unless you develop a love for me, Vasudeva. What is that? 5.5? 5.5.6. Unless you develop that attraction for the Lord, love for Him, then you cannot escape the cycle of birth and death. You see how our position is. We have all been bombarded by this atheistic nonsense, this science so-called. Everybody is into knowledge, but what knowledge? They don't know. If you get this avidya, this Bhagavad Ishopanishad mantra, what is that? Avidya what? Mantra what? Ishopanishad mantra what? Avidya. What? 11 or 10 what?
10 and 11.
Let's finish this first. I'm going so fast, my mind is going. It's not keeping up with my speech.
Evam mana.
We know time already. We are just.
When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being. And his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again.
You see that point? He cannot be delivered unless he accepts the Lord. Again and again. You see that? Can you go Sanskrit? Yeah? You see that? Namuchyate deha yogina tavat. Huh? There's no way you can get out. But on the other hand, if you get even a little attraction, then this whole cycle of birth and death stops. You know where's the birth? Huh? Where is that birth? The whole cycle of birth and death stops. Where? Come on, come on, come on. Hello? There's no such words, Prabhu. Seven, 7:37. Huh? Ah. Can you go to the...
The real problem of life, Bhagavatam 7:37. The real problem of life is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling repeatedly up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, by transcendental bliss realized from constant engagement in devotional service, one is completely liberated from material existence. All learned men know this. Therefore, my dear friends, O sons of Asuras, immediately begin meditating upon the worship and worshipping the super soul within everyone's heart.
That actually the Lord's activities are so powerful. That is 1:10. Is that 49? You go 24:99, 24:99 month here, but that is Bhagavatam verse. But this verse is, translated it together. But if you go here, no, Madhya 24:98. See, even if you hear them once, you see that point here.
The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in the association of pure devotees have become free from bad. Materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once.
You see that? Huh? Even though they have heard them only once. It is so powerful, this attraction of the Lord. This is actually the verse from the Bhagavatam. Can you go up? You can see. Yeah, 1:10:11. Sorry, I got 1:1. 1:10:11.
Bhagavatam 1:10:11.
Yeah. So,
Translation. An intelligent person who has understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and has become freed from bad, materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though he has heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate his separation? For they had been intimately associated with his person by seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him.
that's why there's another verse, I think it's 1:14, is it? Nirvitata say 4, 10:1:4. And this is another verse is repeating this point. Even they heard once, it's so attracted to them. But all those people who are, meat eaters, they cannot be attracted. And it says in this way, this is the medicine. This is a medicine for repeated birth and bhava ausadi. Sotra manobiraman. This pastime of the Lord is attracting to the heart actually. When you say mind, heart. Sotra, mano, abhiraman, happiness. Is that word also? Satat, satam, prasanga, Mamavidasam Vido, Karna, Rasaya, the same point. So this is also explained here. Only those people who are materialistic and who are sinful, they cannot be attracted to the Lord. Not possible. Unless they get associated with the devotees of the Lord. Yeah? Can you read that?
Translation. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul, undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is killing his own self?
Right? So, killer of the soul, eh? That's also, there's a few verses on that, right? You know where it is? Killer of the soul. 11?
Atma. Our Guru is the captain and Guru is the boat. The instruction of the Lord is available. Those who do not take advantage and get in the
Yes, but actually there's one in 11.5. Killer of the soul. And also in the Ishopanishad, mantra what? Killer of the soul. Do you know? Ishopanishad mantra? No? 3, is it? So all the killers of the soul is explained in this mantra 3. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planet known as world of faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. So what's the definition of the killer of the soul? You go to 11.5, you see, killer of the soul. Can you see that? 11.5? 15. Not 15 now.
17.
Huh?
17.
17. Killer of the soul. Go. 17. 11.5, 17.
16, 17.
So you want to become a killer of the soul, or you want to what? Save your soul. That's your choice, you know. And unless you go to the Lord, you cannot save your soul. That's not possible. Can you read?
Bhagavatam 11.5.17 translation. The killers of the soul are never peaceful because they consider that human intelligence is ultimately meant for expanding material life, thus neglecting their real spiritual duties.
Your thing is.
They are always in distress. They are filled with great hopes and dreams. But unfortunately, these are always destroyed by the inevitable march of time.
See that here? The killer of the soul always filled with great hope. What is that? Huh? What is that verse? Hope against hope.
Hope. Durasaya.
Huh? Nate vidu swartha gatim vish. Huh?
Durasaya.
What is that hope? That word? Durasaya. This is the word Durasaya. Hope again. Hope. That's all it is. That's material life. Hoping again. Hope. But everything will be destroyed. But one who has taken shelter of the Lord, huh? That is, you know where's the word for that? Never destroyed. Hello? No. 2, 3, 17.
Oh, son.
2, 3, 17. What's going on? The killer of the soul.
Life of Christ.
2, 3, 17. Let's go. Come on. These are all are basic things, you know. You must know very. Go to F4. Now you cannot do. You have to go back again. Type the word again. F 3, 2, 17. No, 2, 3, 17. Yeah. Yes. You see here?
Ayuharati.
10.
Ayuharati vaipumsam udyanastam cha yannaso tasyarte yat krishano nita uttama shloka vartaya. 2317 translation. Both by rising and by setting of the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead.
So that it destroys everybody except one who is discussing pastimes. Okay? So, okay, I think that I can go on and on, but we started late actually. Sorry, I usually don't like to keep you too long. Anyway, there's no prasadam today, so you cannot blame me. Alright, so anyway, I've tried to explain why the pastimes of the Lord are very relevant to us. Yes? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Huh?
The verse is there, 10:33, 36.
10,
33,
33, 33, 36. Put 10, 33, 36. Ten 33, 36. You got 32 there.
33.
It is about Krishna.
36.
36.
Bhagavatam 10:33-36 translation. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear about them to become dedicated to him.
The same thing at the 10, 11, 1, 6, 7. All right. Anything else before we wrap up? All glories to Lord Ram. Ramachandra Bhagavan ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi.